little bit of armor now. We've got 2 defense. That shows up as this little shield icon next to your equipment menu. So you've got a little bit of defense against the dangers of the world. So let's go test out the new wooden sword we made. Look at that. You couldn't have done that with the copper short sword, right? It's definitely better. So we're going to go back out. I had passed by this little ore vein of tin. So we're going to do our best to get that right now, since it's so close and at hand. We're really thirsty for ore at this point in the game. Later on, you're not going to stop and bother digging up some tin. But right now, it's very useful, so let's not pass it by. Right. And I'm going to go hunt for a bit more, because frankly, I think we'll need a bit more tin to really do anything useful. I see some here. Why not? Let's just go ahead and harvest this. Let's go ahead and harvest this ore. We can always fill it back in with dirt later if we're afraid of it looking ugly. In fact, let's go do that now. So if you're into aesthetics, don't worry about it. You can, as I just did there, you can put dirt blocks back to kind of restore the look as you deem fit. Alright, just taking stock of the situation. I've got a little bit of armor, I've got an improved weapon, and I'm starting to acquire larger and larger amounts of tin ore, which will be very useful in terms of crafting better equipment. But this is going to take a while. Don't feel like you need to race out and get a full iron or lead set right away. You saw when I went into the desert that while there was lead available, it posed certain dangers with these stronger enemies around. So take your time, just probe around a little bit, and only take the risks you feel are suitable. Take a few risks, but it's not like you have to do anything crazy to get established in this game. At least at this point, it's pretty easy on the player. So we're going to carve a path through this giant tree. And remember what I said about physics in Terraria? Alright, it's almost like Wile E. Coyote, where the physics at least takes a pause. You can chop through a tree and it won't fall down on you. These regular trees will if you chop the base. They will fall down, but these big, what I call living trees, you don't have to worry about them crashing down on the player. So as you go around, again, don't be afraid to use the ropes. They'll help you back up.
Hi, Hyun here with League of Legends. Now you're gonna be saying wow every time you play this video game. Now look at this, I'm a blind monk. 1 slap, I'm farming some gold. 2 slaps, you slap on some friends, and look at the more you slap the funner it gets. You don't have to switch any games. Now you like your friends, but you hate finding it. Play solo, meet new people, play with your friends to build up that teamwork. Now I'm an introvert too, but get the friends in once in a while. League of Legends, one of the most played games in the entire world. You wanna play a cute furry devil that shoots darts in your eyes? There's a champion for that. You wanna play an undead crying zombie with depression? There's a champion for that. You want to play a fat evil cyborg who has his legs replaced with mechanical spider arms and shoots a hook from his belly button and grabs onto people and sucks them into an orifice where they're grinded up alive? We have a champion for that. Over 140 champions to choose from, each with different playstyles and abilities. Now, you know we can't do this all day, but if you slap on that link below, I'm gonna give you this game for free. We're gonna make the world lol again, 1 slap at a time. Download and play League of Legends for free.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
And we're just going to do a bit of exploration here during the safety of daytime. We still have a little bit of daylight left. And so while the world is still relatively safe, we'll go explore these caves, and looks like we found a good one. This one really goes down, and usually pretty close to your base you're going to find a cave like this where you can really kind of do a good job of exploring a deeper cave. The other ones we saw were quite small, so this one, I don't know how deep it'll go. It might go quite deep. But for now, we're just going to be opportunistic. I see some tin ore. While we bide our time in the soon-to-be-here nighttime, we're going to want to do some crafting. So I'm going to try to dig up as much ore as possible while the sun is shining. Again, use your ropes. That way you can descend safely, reascend if you need to. Looks like there's a little bit extra tin there. All right, so this cave is continuing down. As I suspected, it's non-trivial. It carries on. Let's not bypass this chest. Let's see what we've got. We got a wooden boomerang. I'm not a huge fan of these, but I'll save it because I intend to sell it once I have the merchant. This is good. We've got some lead bars, more rope. I'm not going to turn that down. More healing potions, and then an iron skin potion. Just for later reference, iron skin potions are good through the entirety of the game. Even in the end game, you're probably going to want to drink an iron skin potion before a boss fight. So pretty much every boss fight, save an iron skin potion before it. You can keep one in your chest at the headquarters. Keep them as you find them and just draw from your reserve of them whenever you're ready for a boss fight. So bear that in mind. So let's continue exploring. Oh, look, another chest. The game does throw you some bones early on. We got some bottles. Those are used in crafting. Got a shine potion, not very useful, but even if you don't intend on using things like these throwing knives, go ahead and take them, especially early on. They're useful, if anything else, just to sell to the merchant once he arrives. We're obviously a long way from getting 50 silver, but once he does arrive, we can really start to accumulate wealth by selling a lot of the things we find in the world. And you'll note, since I'd equipped that accessory in the last video, I really equipped it just for the damage boost, but it does allow you to collect free rope whenever you chop vines, so watch this. If I didn't have that equipped, I wouldn't get these vines, but since I do, these vines function the same way as regular rope does. So if you're short on rope, this is a useful accessory. Probably only early on in the game is when you'll find the use for it, but that's also when you find it. So it's a good little accessory, and that's why I have it equipped. So here we got some more tin ore. I think we're going to do some good crafting tonight. Let's dig all of this out. I have a feeling the night is about to arrive, so we don't have too much more time before we'll need to return to the base. Now, the effects of nighttime aren't as pronounced underground. The underground is fairly consistent in its difficulty. It's more of an above-ground problem. But at any rate, nighttime is as good a time as any to return and start doing some crafting. So let's dig all this tin ore up. We should have quite a bit of tin ore by the time we return to base. Before we drop down, let's put some more of this rope. Very good. All right. And you can go up and down ropes like this. You're going to be using it a lot early on. Get some more items from these chests, if we have any chests. No, just pots. Alright, we're going quite deep here, and the deeper you get in Terraria, by the way, the tougher the enemies get. You go through these different biomes the deeper you go. You start in what's called the surface biome, and as you go deeper, you go into the underground and caverns layer, and then eventually, as you'll see very much later on, kind of a magma-filled chamber at the bottom of the world. But we're a long way from that, so you don't really have to worry about it quite yet. And you can hear the nighttime music, so we're already in the nighttime, so I'm about to return to the base. I just want to do a little bit more exploring since I'm already all the way down here, but I think I'm kind of near the end of my daily exploration. Let's go ahead and place some torches. Jump across here. And let's just see if there's anything else useful I can get before returning to base. I'm not going to use any kind of platforms or rope around here. I can easily jump across these chasms. If you find yourself in a pit like this, you can either jump out, or if you can't jump out, just go ahead and apply some rope, so like that, and you can just come right back out. So this is why keeping some rope around is very useful. Alright, you've probably seen this already, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but these little heart crystals you'll find throughout the world. You're going to want to get them as you come across them. What do they do? Well, look up here. You have 100 life. If you use the life crystal, now you have 20 more life. And you can do this up to a certain point, and past a certain point they no longer have any effect. You hear that noise? That's one of these worms. These are going to be a pain in your rear end for a while until you get stronger. But you can kind of tell from audio cues when they will strike, so you can kind of time their attack. They start to pick up in crescendo right before the attack comes, like so. And you can kind of time it and figure them out, so don't be too freaked out by them. We're going to dig up this lead ore. Alright, I think I'm pretty much near the tail end. I'm not even going to bother with that. Alright, what you just saw there was a trap. This is something you're going to have to be vigilant about. Whenever you see one of these things here, it's a dart trap. Dart traps are going to be a major thorn in your side, at least early on. What they're activated by are pressure plates, which you can't really see too easily in the world. I think there's one here and one there. The visual cues for these pressure plates are quite subtle, and so usually I just try to dig out these dart traps before I stand on the pressure plate. Yeah, that's a pressure plate. And there's another dart trap over here. We can't see it, but we can see this pressure plate. So let's go ahead and dig it out just to deactivate it. And now we can walk safely and figure out where that other dart came from. It's over here. It's a little hard to see, but there it is. So things are getting a little hairy now. I think I'm probably going to use a recall potion momentarily. Let me just get my revenge on this guy, then I'll recall back to base. Alright, I got him. So again, I think I'm kind of near the exploration of this end of the exploration of this cave at this point. I've certainly done good work for day one in this cave. You'll have all the time in the world really to explore it at your leisure. But this is a good demonstration of just how deep these caves can go. This really isn't that deep either in the grand scheme of things. So this is a very large world. You do have the option of building a world in different sizes when you start, as you've undoubtedly discovered. But they do go deep even in the small world. So what I just dug up there were sapphires. You'll note some slightly discolored blocks here and there around the world. Those are precious gems, and they can be used both for crafting and for selling to the merchant. So they're very good to dig up. I always like to keep a stash of them in my treasure chest back at base. But let's go back to base, speaking of the base. Alright, so we're back in the base. We're safe and sound. But what's this outside the door? This is a fallen star. And just go ahead and collect these as you come across them. You can use them as ammunition and crafting equipment later on. We'll get into that at the appropriate time. But for now, just know that when you see them, go ahead and collect them because they're good to have. I think this is probably a pretty good stopping point in the video. If you look at the inventory screen, you can see just the potpourri of items I've acquired in that fairly brief exploration run into the cave. We've got dart traps, pressure plates, 2 more chests, and you can never have enough chests, and just a myriad of other things, ore, new bars. Let's go ahead and smelt those while we're here. And once those are done, I think we can probably call it a night. You see now I've got 20 tin bars and a total of 12 lead bars. And so I won't build anything yet. But looking ahead, what can we get? Well, there's a lead anvil, and this will even further enhance our crafting capabilities. For a lead anvil or an iron anvil, you're going to need 5 bars of lead or iron, respectively. I guess we can go ahead and build one right now, and I really just did that to show you how the crafting system in Terraria really opens up with the more crafting stations you get. I said in the last video that the crafting table was the beginning of your crafting experience. From that, you can build the furnace that lets you smelt ore. And from that, you can build the anvil, which lets you build metal items, particularly armor and weapons. And so, well, what I'm using now is a 7 damage wooden sword. And just as a demonstration, if we were to make a tin broadsword, that does 9 damage. I don't have quite enough lead for the lead broadsword, but I'd imagine it will probably do something like 11 melee damage instead of the wooden sword 7. So once I get a little bit more lead, I'm definitely going to build one of those. But that's a discussion for a future video. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope what I talked about in this video was insightful, or at least somewhat clear-headed. So here we go. Let's open the door, and you can see if we do open the door in this game, there's not as much knockback as I need to keep them at bay by constant swings, so you do have to retreat. But there we go. We've cleared the door a little bit. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be continuing this game in future videos, so stay tuned to the playlist, and I will see you next time. Welcome back to part 4, everyone. I've actually, as you can probably see, skipped over some of the more mundane construction tasks to show you the finished result of my latest project in between this video and the last, and that is namely to get a little more organized. I felt that the NPCs wandering around right near these entrances and exits, however you want to view them, was a little risky, and they just kind of got in the way. And so what I've done is I've actually moved them to the upper levels of my headquarters here, just so that they're sort of out of the way. Of course, the guide is not really playing ball. He just spawned down here, but I have built these second and third levels to the base, and so there's room to expand now, so the NPCs have a place to live. And down on the bottom level, I'm going to commit this level to both crafting, and just below it, I'm going to commit it to my new storage solution. This is a solution I've not actually done before, where I've kind of created this little accessible nook underneath the walkway. It's within reach of the character as he walks along the platform, and it's just, I don't know, you don't have to do it this way. As I said, I've never actually tried it this way. I just thought it'd be a neat little thing to do, and so this is how I'm going to go about it in this tutorial video. At any rate, my father always told me that the organized people were the ones who got ahead in life, and that's proven mostly true in my experience, but to shy away from life lessons and just focus on Terraria, organization is key to Terraria as well. You're going to be finding a lot of items, and sooner than you might think, you're going to really struggle to find a solution just to categorize and maintain all of the things you find in the field, because as big as your inventory is, it's way too small to keep track of everything you find. And so what I've done here is, obviously there's room to grow. As you can see, there's 6 chests so far, but there's room for many more, and certainly I can expand it further as needed, which I probably will in good time. But just to show you how I've organized it, there's no right way to go about it. What I like to do is I like to have a chest committed to herbs and natural ingredients such as vines, that sort of thing. So I've got seeds, I've got daybloom flowers, I've got acorns, even cobwebs, because believe it or not, you can craft things in the future at a loom using cobwebs, so you'll need them. In this chest I've got potions and then empty bottles for making potions, so it's sort of the alchemy chest. In this one, I've just gotten started with a gems chest. There are obviously many more gems in the world than sapphires, but I like to keep my gems in their own chest just for easy access. And then over here on the right side, I have sort of world finds, mechanisms and furniture. So things like pressure plates and dart traps, if you find them in the field, I like to collect those as well, just in case I ever want to implement them in any designs. And then extra furniture I've either found or built and then have no current use for, I store just for future use. In the 5th chest, I've gotten started on a clothing and armor chest. You probably need more than one of these chests before very long, but there you go. And then finally in chest number 6, I have special loot, and so far I don't have much. But what I do have is a lens and a fallen star. So, everyone has their own personal style of organizing items found in the field. That's really how I go about it. The one chest I probably will end up placing on this level I'm walking along right now will probably be an ore chest, and I'll keep that right next to the furnace and to the anvil, just because ores are what you use when you craft armor and weapons, obviously, and I like to have those close at hand, sort of like a little blacksmith station. And so that's the one exception, as I said, to the stored solution below. But I thought this would be a good demonstration of one of the many solutions you as the player can implement to deal both with the ever-increasing number of NPCs and also with your need to organize and store all the loot you have in the field. Just to go back to that for a second, I've decided to keep in my inventory for the moment things I intend to sell once I get 50 silver and the merchant arrives. None of these things here I have any intent on using, and so I'm just keeping them here for now with the full anticipation of selling them to the merchant once he arrives. And so that's that. Also the ore and the metal bars I'm keeping in the inventory for now, because I'm sure I'll come across more ore soon in my adventuring, and so there's no real need at this early stage to put them in an ore chest. And then this here, the wooden walls, the wooden platform, you can deal with those as you will. I could certainly put those in the furniture chest down here if I wanted. I'll do that just now as a demonstration. But since we're taking stock of where I store everything, I'd like to talk about the quick access bar here. And this may look a little different depending on which version of the game you're using. I always like to have my primary weapon located probably on the first slot, at least early on, and then have an axe and a pickaxe right after it. I do like to have a rope somewhere in the quick bar, at least during earlier adventuring, before you have other means of flying up and down. I always keep a health potion somewhere in the bar, early on especially. And then finally in the end slot, this is what I do throughout the entire game, I have torches here on the end slot, because you're going to go through hundreds, if not thousands, of torches during the course of your adventure, and you're going to need them. And, even if you use whatever hotkey you have available to place a torch, what I like to do is keep them on the hotbar just so I see how many I have left, so that I'm not surprised and suddenly get transitioned to glow sticks. Because when you run out of torches, it shifts to any other light source you have available, which is usually glow sticks, which are obviously not as useful as torches most of the time. So here's another thing you'll come across. You may create a nice little house like this for NPCs, and then it dawns on you that, hey, wait, I can't really go around and maneuver very easily. Well, one thing you can do, you can put ropes down like this. And this isn't totally necessary. I like to do this just to give my character some options for maneuverability, just in case, I don't know, whatever the reason may call for. If you want to go up and around your building, you can do so. And so that's what I've done here. So the ropes come in handy in many different ways. Keep in mind this game is very flexible with how you design your base. And this is just an example of how weak you are early on. There's not enough knockback on this weapon to really keep this crowd at bay, so I'm going to run away. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to continue on with more adventuring in the next video, so stay tuned, and thanks as always for watching. Welcome back to the Terraria tutorial series, and I'm going to continue this adventure. As you see up here, I've run from this host of zombies like an abject coward, I'm going to ignore that falling star. And I'm going to go adventuring now. I'm going to go away from the dangerous surface and just carry on down into this cave system, which I think in video 3 I was exploring. And obviously I left off without really fulfilling a full adventure of that cave. So let's go about it again and see what we have down here. And it can take a little while to get down to the depths of your cave. This one is certainly no aberration in that, you know, pretty much all the major caves you come across go quite deep in the world, and it can take some time to traverse them. So don't feel as though you're doing anything wrong if it takes a while to get back to where you left off. So we'll be at the bottom before long. Let's carry on down. And I want to go ahead and get this pot up here. I don't like to leave many stones unturned if I can help it. Just for the cost of a few ropes. Let's see what we get. Not much, but you know, it's better than nothing. Another habit I have is to really fill out these caves and explore them as best I can. So I don't like leaving unexplored sections of my caves. Maybe you'll play it a little differently. There's certainly no hard and fast rule about whether or not to, you know, explore every little side nook and cranny of your cave. It's just something I like to do. So let's go up here. You never know what you'll find. Okay, not much, but you know, it was worth a shot. You never know if there was any ore or anything up here. It's just stone, so we can bypass that and carry on with our adventures below. But we did get a bit of ore here, so it wasn't something left us completely empty-handed. Let's go ahead and get rid of this slime here. And off to the right, thanks to the torch I've placed, you can see that there's some ore. Looks like lead ore off to the right, so we'll definitely want that. Lead ore is definitely a step above this copper level or tin level items that I have right now. I'm using the pickaxe. This is actually tungsten, and so this is the equivalent of silver. It's even better than lead, so we're definitely going to want to mine this. The ores do look a little different from one another, so hang on. Go down. It'll be easier to attack them if we go down to his level. So anyway, these ores do look a little different. I probably should have detected that was tungsten and not lead, but it's been a while since I played entry-level Terraria, I guess you could call it. So anyway, what I said was, whether it's silver or tungsten, that is an ore level, essentially one tier above the iron and lead tier. So you definitely want to get that stuff if you can find it early on. It'll make your equipment that much more powerful. If it's a sword, it'll do more damage. And if it's a pickaxe, it'll mine faster, that sort of thing. So you definitely want to collect that. Anyway, let's start to delve a little deeper into this area of the cave and see if we can find anything useful. Looks like there's an underground river here. We can actually ignore that for now, I would say. Let's go ahead and put some rope down so we can get back out. And you may have to dig your way out. One thing I've found in Terraria is that you can enter, but can't always leave a section. It's sort of like Hotel California lyrics. So bear in mind, you may have to dig your way out. It's not a bug, it's just how the game works. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the rope into the water to make this little place more accessible. And look, we found some stuff here, so let's see what we got. Just a bit of money. Every little bit helps. Let's see how far we are from getting the merch. We're going to need about 15 more silver, so he'll be here soon. But we do need to continue adventuring to make sure we get enough silver for the merchant to appear. And this is a section where you definitely want to place a rope down. Go ahead and do that before you go down. It's always safer to go ahead and prepare that way. We got one of these pesky worms swimming around in the dirt, just trying to get an attack off on us. These things are sort of a nuisance early on. Before long, they're not much of a threat, but right now I really don't have much in the way of armor or weaponry, and so they are a bit of a challenge. Pretty much everything's a challenge, really, at this point. But if you've been watching the video series up to this point, you'll know that the character, as weak as he is right now, is still more powerful than when we began, right? So, yeah, it's baby steps at this point, so don't be disheartened if your character is weak for a little while. There's nothing to do but to grin and bear it until you get better gear and then see what you can do moving forward. So on lakes like this, underground lakes, you know, a rope obviously isn't going to help you here, but remember, as I said in an earlier video, you don't have to obey the rules of physics, so you can do this. You can build a little causeway of earth, and that way you can traverse the lake with no problem. So use all the tools at your disposal in Terraria. There's no shame in it, there's no hard and fast rule. I'm going to craft a few more torches. There are no rules for any of this, so just do what's convenient, especially early on. And go about your adventuring. So this is quite a deep gorge. I'm going to try to catch the rope on the way down. There, I've done it. Jump down to the surface here. And what I'm really hoping for is to get a chest or something soon that will help the merchant arrive. That's our next real goal, because you can't really do but so much until the merchant arrives. He's the guy you sell stuff to early on. He sells you some good items that allow you to get stronger. So you really want to get to that 50 silver level for the merchant to arrive. And if you have that level and he's not arriving, please double check that your housing is adequate, that you've got enough houses. Anyway, what do we have here? Well, looks like some shiny stones here. These are gemstones, I think. No, just lead. Okay, well, that's still good. We want lead, right? So let's harvest that and carry on. What do we have down here? Got some wooden arrows. We can sell those or just keep them. And then let's go ahead and build another causeway and maybe put some rope down here and dig out some of this ore. There's some ore over here also. This will be useful. And there's a whole host of ore down here, so we've hit the jackpot here. This will serve our character well. So let's strike into these ore veins once this little worm is dealt with. There he goes. And we can boost our character's strength with some tin ore and maybe some lead ore. We'll have to wait and see what we find here. So let's go ahead and swim down, plant a few ropes so we can find our way back out and get cracking with some mining. Okay, so this is tin. It is the lowest level metal, obviously, but you know, it's still helpful to have, so we're going to dig it up, because there's still things you can do with it, even if you don't want to build any armor, let's say. You might have a use for it in the future all the same, so never pass it by, at least early on in the game, because it does have a utility for your character. So we're going to do that. It's a little dull to watch this, I'm sorry about that, but early on you do what you have to do to get your character up and running, and it does involve mining tin ore and just kind of doing more mundane tasks. The more adventurous stuff kind of happens later on, so we got to get through this little slow patch in the game. But you know what? It's fun in its own way, I think, because the pace of your character's growth at this stage in the game is quite rapid, and so there's something to be said about that, I think. Anyway, as I mentioned a minute ago, we really hit the jackpot here with these ore veins. Even if it's just tin, it would have been nice if it was lead or tungsten. Even though it's just tin, this will probably be enough to build some tin armor, which will make the character more resilient. First, though, I will probably build a tin sword. So right now we're using this wooden thing, and it's simply not adequate to the job. It's not up to the task. We want something more powerful, something that can more quickly take out slimes, can more quickly take out those worms that dig through the earth, that sort of thing. So we're going to get about that as soon as possible. Here we got some lead. That'll be good. You know, if we have enough lead, I may try to go ahead and build a lead sword, because if I can completely skip over the tin sword section of the game, I think that would be really good for the character. So let's see if we can do that. Alright, I think we're almost wrapped up with this phase. Let's go ahead and build a causeway over here. I think we're done with that little pool of water, so we can just bypass it in the future. And we've got some stuff up here. Let's go ahead and dig that out. And again, you can see the utility of these ropes. They're really a godsend. Okay, we got some more lead. You know what? I think we'll definitely have enough for a good lead sword. So that's next on the agenda. That's next on the to-do list. So let's go ahead and dig these out of the earth. And we'll be well on our way to increasing our character's strength. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think we're probably done adventuring for now. Once we get some of this ore. And I think there's even more up here. So we're really getting spoiled with all of this. I'm going to go ahead and go back to base. This is getting a little much for my character. And so what I'm going to do, I've already kept all the ore in my inventory, obviously. And that is 28 and 55. So let's see how many bars we can get from this. We already had tungsten ore as well. Only 2 tungsten bars. That's not enough for much at the moment, is it? Let's see about lead. Lead bars. 9 lead bars. That ought to be enough for a sword. And then tin. We should have plenty of tin. So we're up to 38 total tin bars. Let's see what we can make. Obviously, I'm using a wooden sword. Damage 7. Let's see what kind of a lead sword we can make. Damage 11, as I suspected in the previous video. Let's go ahead and do that for sure. That's definitely something we want. So we've gone from 7 damage to 11 damage. That's excellent. So that's a major boost for our character. Look at that lead sword. Isn't it beautiful? And then with a new weapon in hand, let's take a look at some armor. Right now we have 2 defense with just a wooden breastplate and a wooden helmet. Let's see if we can make tin equipment. I think we should have... Well, we can't make an entire tin set, but what we can do is we can go ahead and get started. The tin greaves, let's go ahead and do that. So we're now up to 3 defense, and that may be all we can do, but you know, no, we can build a tin helmet. Let's do that. And we've used up pretty much all of our supply of tin, but I think it was worth it. I think it was definitely worth it. We've essentially we have doubled our defense from 2 to 4. And so with just a little bit of adventuring, the character looks a little cooler, does a lot more damage, and he's got twice the defense. Let's test it out on the slime. Sorry, slime. And that was easy, right? It's a much improved weapon, so very good. I think that wraps up this video, so thanks for watching. I'll continue this series in the near future, so stay tuned to the channel, and I appreciate all of the support. Thanks, everyone. So it has finally happened. The merchant has arrived at base, and this is because, as I said in the other videos, I finally have 50 silver or more. I cut out the part of the video relating to how I got the 90 silver. Rest assured, there was nothing too interesting about it. It was just more exploration on my part, killing enemies, that sort of thing. And so without further ado, let's take a look at this merchant. The name, of course, is random every time. It may be different in your game, but it looks the same regardless of his name. So this guy, as I said in the other videos, is very helpful to have. And I'll explain why. First and foremost, you're going to come across a lot of items in the course of your adventures that you simply don't want to keep. And rather than just simply continually stashing them away in chests, you're going to want to sell them. And so I've accumulated quite a bit here in my inventory that I really don't need. And so my goal here is simply to sell these items. And just looking at the item description while in the merchant menu, you can see what each item is worth. And sometimes the item actually isn't worth anything at all, but you still just want to get rid of it so you can sell it to the merchant or dispose of it as you want. In this case, I start with 90 silver, and just going through, I'm going to sell all of these items. Like so. And some of these are my old equipment that I'll never use again. And in the blink of an eye, I've accumulated 44 silver just like that, which is very helpful, especially at this early stage in the game. As I said, not everything you have will have any kind of value attached to it. This wooden helmet, for instance, I'll never need again. And if I wanted another one, it would be very easy to craft, obviously. So I'm going to get rid of it just by selling it. There's no harm in doing that. So that's what I'm going to do. Likewise, these vines, I never really typically use them, and I like keeping a slot here for something else, and so I'm going to dispose of those. But you get the idea, right? The merchant has unlimited silver and gold, so it doesn't really matter how many items you sell to him. It's not like some other games where they have a limited amount of gold that refreshes over time. So that's convenient. But the merchant also sells a number of things that are very, very useful to have. And it might take a little while of exploration and building up your gold count before you're able to buy some of these nice things. But the first and foremost thing is this bug net. And it's very affordable. By the time the merchant arrives, you should have twice the silver, if not more, than you need to buy the bug net. So let's go ahead and buy it and equip it in that slot I just freed up. And while we have the inventory open, let's go ahead and buy the